How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and we've got another deck profile being another one of my deck of the weeks, where I go over a list I've been enjoying for this week. And for this one, I'm going to go over the list I took to locals, being my yellow hand deck, which you'll see later on in the week, or next few days, my gameplay and games of using it. Because what I've been trying to do is test out some of the older leaders from set 1, what they kind of like with some of the new benefits we get from set 2, before moving on to some of the set 2 leads. And Han Solo is one that gets a massive boost because with the new keyword smuggle, it's now got less of a worry about having a low hand because you can always play stuff in your resources and you can ramp up quite quickly, quite well. And there's some pretty cool interactions we've got with the new set as well. So that is it. So without further ado, we'll get into the video. But before we do, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop. And by clicking in the notification bell, you can get alerts when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then at a later time that suits you. So let's get to the video and check out Han Solo. So we went for Han Solo, we went for double yellow because there are some really good cards in double yellow and also get some big benefits. There's some that even, well, with each new set we're going to get more, I think, double aspect cards, which would be cool. And I really like the double aspect cards because they're very, very powerful. They do limit your card pool quite a bit, but with the second set, it's not as limited as in set 1. And there's some pretty nice cards I want to make use. And double yellow is one of my favorite combinations in the game currently. And if you are brand new, have only started in set 2 and haven't really seen or played much of set 1, this is the Han Solo. So this is the set 1 Han Solo. There is a second one in the second set, but we're playing the set 1 Han Solo here because he's one that can ramp. He's got ramp built into his lead, which is pretty unique to him because each leader has something unique to themselves to kind of make him why you would play them over another leader. And for Han Solo, it's that extra ramp. So he's got an effect on both sides where you can temporarily ramp by placing a card from your hand or top of your deck into your resources, depending on which side it is. So when he's in the lead area, you can use this effect to tap him and put a card from your hand into play as a resource, so have it ready to use. And at the start of the next action phase, you defeat the resource you control. So anyone you control, not the same one you essentially put into play. So meaning you've always got to defeat a resource at the end. You can't kill off the resource you put into play, so you'd have to kill it off at the end. It's just any resource. And he deploys as early as turn 5 when you get 6 resources, which is really nice. So you can kind of do them a little bit earlier as well. You can even do them turn 4 potentially, and because like his own ramp card. And when he comes down, he comes to the 4/6, which is pretty solid stats, pretty good power, and pretty good health at the range of things that take down. And with when he's deployed, his effect is on attack, so you have to attack to get the ramp. And it does it from the top of your deck. But same thing at the start of the next action phase, you defeat a resource you control. So there is that. So this is that's the leader. So really nice being able to temporary ramp, kind of deploy a turn earlier than you expect, and also play some things a turn earlier as well. But you do lose quite a bit of hands if you do it regularly, but you're not always doing it every single turn. But normally it turns when you want to play something a little bit like a turn earlier, or make certain kind of plays. So that's the leader, and we've gone with Jabba's Palace for the base because it's a nicer looking one. It's like one of the nicer looking ones of double cunning ones, and we rather go for 30 health because the rare base for yellow is got to think about it now. Jeddah City, that's the one, and Jeddah City isn't really like got a worthwhile benefit of having 5 less health. So we rather have the maximum of health because the effect on Jeddah City isn't worthwhile at the moment anyway. So that's the leader and base covered. Now we'll go into actual cards in the sets. We'll start off with the units and then I think events or upgrades and then whatever's after that. So starting off, and we go normally like a cost order. So we've got free Greedo. Greedo being a very nice card, very cheap card to play in one cost, especially when you've got 1 energy lingering and you got in hand. You can always play it out to get something else on board. Well, he doesn't have the best in terms of health. He still has free power for 1, which is really cool. And he's got a nice when defeated, where you can discard a card from the top of your deck, and if it's not a unit, you deal 2 damage to a ground unit. You can kind of finish things off, and if you're lucky enough, you can do 5 damage to a ground unit by swinging Greedo into it, killing itself, and then milling a card that's not a unit, and then do an extra 2 damage. It's very nice there. 3 copies because it's just a very nice cheap unit. Very strong. It is unique, so you can have 1 at a time, but most likely once 1's gone, you got to play another one. Then we've got 2 copies of Cloud Rider. I do want to upgrade this because to 2, and I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to take out for it because sometimes a lot of time I find like I kind of want a cheap ambush to try to finish something off, or just take out something early and I see it more often. But I've got 2 in there at the moment because there's sometimes where you can ramp any turn with Han Solo. Like you don't have to necessarily need a card that's cost 2 to play turn 1. You can play a cost that costs 3 for turn 1 because you temporarily ramp, giving you a third resources on the first turn that then play out like a bigger costing card. So having you have a higher curve with Han Solo where you can play things a lot a turn earlier, which is really nice. But then you do sacrifice a hand, so like you don't always need 2 costs. So Cloud Rider is a really nice one to get that ambush to kind of hold off your opponent and kind of control until you get to establish yourself with enough resources to do some bigger plays. We've also got some of our either turn 1 plays technically because these are free cost ones. So remember, with Han, you can ramp a card from the top of from your hand to your energy on any turn by tapping it. Meaning that on turn 1, when you normally have 2 resources to play with, you can go ahead and go up to 3 and apply some free costs. So some good free costs we've got are Bodhi Rook being a very nice one. One of the benefits of playing double yellow, because it's a solid free cost, free. With one play, looks at your opponent's hand, discards a non-unit card from the hand. Could be any event or upgrade. And since we've got more upgrades, more events, there's some pretty nice things to take out. And there's still like good things like ramp, like resupply and stuff like that you want to take out your opponent's hand early. So free costs is that. We also got Ezra Bridger as well, being a very nice one, allowing you to mitigate the fact that Han has quite a low hand size by being able to potentially play things to top of your deck. Because whenever he attacks, because he's a free cost 3/4, it's pretty good stats there. And when this unit completes an attack, and he's got attack and survive, you look at the top card of your deck and you can play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. So you can either leave it there if you want to draw into it, play it if you've got the resources to play it and want to, or just leave it on top, or just discard it if you don't really want it there. If you don't want to draw into it or don't want it staying on top of your deck. So 3 copies of it, because once again it's very solid turn 1 plays, because it's very hard to out either these plays that early. And we've also got 3 DJ as well, and this is one of the new benefits like Han Solo got that no other leader really got, and that is like resource manipulation. And this is really nice because it's a free cost 3/5, so pretty good stats. That's like probably the new standard of stats for free cost now. And he's got a smuggle cost, and his smuggle cost makes him technically the third double aspect card for yellow, because we only really got 2, being Evacuate and A New Hope. But I think it's A New Hope. I think it's the name of the card. But he's got a smuggle cost which is 7 and 2 yellow. So if you want to smuggle him out, it costs 2 yellow plus it also costs 7. So very expensive smuggle. And when played using smuggle, which is like the benefit, like why he's got such a high cost, and the benefit smuggle him in, and why you're only playing him for the smuggle, is when he's played using smuggle, you take control of an enemy resource, and then so it could be one of their active ones, one of their rest ones, just anyone you've got a resource to take it, and you have it. And then when this unit leaves play, being bounced out, being defeated, then that resource's owner takes control of it. So essentially, the benefit of him in Han, no other like kind of leader has benefit over, is that end of the term. Well, before the next action phase, Han, if you use Han's effect, either if he's deployed or not deployed, then you have to defeat any resource you control. So the nice thing about DJ is you can smuggle him out, take one of your opponent's resources, and as long as you use Han's effect that turn, then when it comes to the next turn, essentially you have to defeat one of your resources. You can defeat the one you took for your opponent. So even if they then remove DJ, you won't get the resource back, because you defeated one of their resources. So that technically you replace the card you smuggle out with the top card of your deck. So you smuggle out DJ from your resources, you replace it with the top card of your deck. You take one of the resources, and if you use Han's effect to ramp, you've technically done a permanent ramp, because you ramp using Han. The end turn you set off your opponent's resource rather than your own, so you've still kept your ramp, like your extra card to energy, so you've ramped up, and then you take one of your opponent's resources away, like hold them off a turn, and also have just established a pretty nice, decent unit on play as well. So we play 3 copies of these because it's one of the best plays, one of the main reasons like I've got into playing yellow Han at the moment, because it's just that great, and you can even hold off people from deploying, because if you get to a point where like later games when they want to deploy turn, you can potentially take a resource if they're like 1 resource away from being able to deploy, you can take a resource and set them back even further to make it so they can't really deploy a leader. Very nice card and big benefit. You might be thinking that 7 resources is quite expensive. It is. Sometimes not too bad, because usually when you're deploying Han, you're normally using its leader effect on the leader side to ramp a resource, and then to get to enough where you're at 6, then to deploy. Deploying Han and swinging give you 7 then, because he deploys that he then ramps again when he swings from top of the deck. You now have 7 that you can then smuggle him out as normal, But if you want to smuggle them out cheaper, then you can go with tech. So tech is something we always play at free cost, and also another one you can play out early. And this gives you a big benefit, a very big benefit to hand, because it makes all your resources have smuggle. Because tech is a free cost 2/5, and each is effective. Each friendly resource gains smuggle, and the gain smuggle cost is the card's cost plus 2 and its aspect icons. And this basically means that DJ then gets a second smuggle, and you can choose which smuggle cost you want to do: is original one or one gained by tech. And tech even has a smuggle cost of himself, which is 4 and heroic, so you can smuggle him himself into play as well. So that's quite nice. So even if you resource him, you can always smuggle him out, and you can always smuggle him out the turn before you want to do your DJ play. But it basically means when you got tech out, if you got DJ and resource, you can either smuggle him in for 7 and 2 yellow, or you can smuggle him out for 5 and 1 yellow. So it gets that big benefit. So you can even play this combination any version of Han, because you can still, as long as you've got tech out, you can smuggle out DJ still in that way, just using tech's smuggle cost rather than its normal. But the benefit of playing double yellow is you get access to some really strong double yellow cards, which we know, like from basically seeing set 1, are very, very strong. And also having a way to still play this without needing to, well, still having to play it even if you don't have tech on our hand deploy turn. So those are like solid free costs we play. We've also got some other ones. So we've got Kira being a very nice 4 cost one. I only played this at 2 because I didn't often play this that much when I was testing the deck, but it could have been like a more situation, well, better if I saw it against some matches and did see some other cards. But Kira's a pretty nice one because it's a 4 cost 3/5, so pretty solid stats. And when she's played, you look at your opponent's hand and name a card. And when this card is in play, well, while this card is in play, each card with that name of what you called with Kira costs 3 more to play for your opponent. So you can call something you don't want to play, they can play early on that, or it's a card they want to play on that turn. You can call that card and have to play it costs 3 more. So that means they have to pay even more, potentially can't play that turn, and stays in that way until Kira's removed from board. It's a pretty nice one there. We also got 2 copies of Azori Bliss. Now, once again, with a double aspect combination, you kind of have a limited card pool, because while you're sacrificing a whole different aspect, you're getting access to some pretty nice double aspect cards. And currently for set 2, there's only, well, technically DJ there's 6, so you're sacrificing a whole different aspect to have 6 more access to 6 pretty strong cards at double aspect. But with the second set, we've got a bigger card pool, so we've got some decent ones, but still is very limited compared to if you have a combination of 2 aspects. The Azori Bliss is a very nice one. I never really played it yet, but then it's solid, because it's one of those ones where if you don't have your normal things you want to play, the things you usually want to play or kind of want to see normally, then it's a good solid backup, because it's a 5 cost 4/7, so very good stats for its cost, and also has pretty nice effect. So it's cheap at 5, 4/7, pretty good stats, and on attack you can draw a card at the start of your regroup phase, discard a card from your hand. Now if you've got no cards in your hand, then you don't have to worry about discarding a card, because you've got nothing to discard. She also has a small cost, which even adds even bigger benefits to her, because she's then a small cost of 6 and her aspects. So it means you've got more options, because just in case you don't have tech on play, you want everything to smuggle, because even if you do have a low hand size, don't have much to do, you still want to have options to play things, because if you've got all that resources knowing to play, then what's the point? So you've got more things to smuggle out just because you have a low hand. And we've got Street Gang Recruit as well, because with the yellow aspect, even from set 1 and set 2, like set 2 be more focused on Underworld, like Shadows of the Galaxy, focus on the Underworld stuff. And yellow in set 1 be more focused on Underworld, with Han Solo, Boba Fett being the leaders around that side. You've got a lot of Underworld cards. Like if you look at it, you've got Greedo, Cloud Rider, DJ, Kira, Azori Bliss, and even more that are Underworld. So cards you can grab back. So we've got Street Gang Recruiter here being a nice little one to kind of get back stuff you potentially sacked off from resources using Hands effect, or that you've lost, that's been defeated, that you've played out. Because what it is a 5 cost 4/4. It's not the best stats. 5 cost 4/4 is not the best, but still not too bad. But it's more like about as when played, you could return an Underworld card from your discard pile to your hand. That's any card with Underworld. It could be an upgrade. It's got Underworld. It could be a unit. It could be a event. As long as it's got Underworld as a trait on the card, you can grab it back, which is very nice. And kind of provides a pretty nice combo loop, which we'll get into a bit when we see the other card. You also put in 1 Syndicate Lackeys, because sometimes you want a bit more ambush, and we've got some could be more expensive, one could be like cheap, but then some could like not hit as hard as others. So we've got some extra ones here, being a Syndicate Lackeys. It's a pretty solid 5 cost 4 for ambush. You can get 5 quite easily with Han. We've also got Fennec Shan being a very good ambush. I remember playing it the first time I got it played on me. It was very annoying because it's very hard to take out because it's quite strong and it can do a lot of damage, especially if you're taking any cheap units without taking any damage back. Because it's a 7 cost, 4/6, not the best stats for a 7 cost, but still pretty decent. It has ambush as well, so you can attack the turn, same turn it's played. And on attack, you can deal 1 damage to the defender for each different cost among cards you discard. And we've got a lot of different costs. We've got 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, 4, 5. We even have 6 of some other cards that we've seen a bit. And you can basically potentially do 7 damage when you swing if you've got the right amount. And since you choose whatever card you want from your resources when you use Hand's effect, this card at the end of the turn, well, before the next action phase, you can look at the cards, like see what's in your discard, right, see what costs you've got in there, and discard the ones to make sure you've got as many different costs for Fennec's effect as possible. Now, I've only got 2 because there is a more interest, like there's a 7 drop you prefer to play over that, and that is Han Solo. Han Solo ordered in set 1 being a very good one. Same thing with Fennec being a 7 cost with 6 health. But Han has 6 power, so he's got a little bit more power. Also has ambush, but he has a nice, more beneficial effect where when attacking, this unit deals combat damage before the defender. So it can come down, take out something, and not take damage back if he takes out the unit before it is able to. We've got 3 copies of this because even though it's unique, you can still have him and your leader on board at the same time because they're different numbered cards as well. It's a unit and a leader, so you can still have them together, and that's basically one of the biggest plays you can get going into the later game. So we have 3 copies because it's that good. We want to make sure that even if you have to resource it early on, we've got more copies in the late game to kind of get back. And also remember, it's an Underworld card that Street Gang can get back for you. So that is the ground units as well. Ground units are quite a few, quite varied as well for Fennec's effect. So we do have 6 costs, but we do have that in the space race. So we not got many space units because there isn't the best selection of space units for the heroic side of yellow. And also in the just normal heroic side, or even just yellow, there aren't great ones. And also in the just normal heroic side, they're more rebels, where we're not really rebels. We've got many rebels outside of Bodhi and Ezra, which aren't always going to be on the board. You don't really want to play a rebel focus when there's not many rebels. So things like the I can't remember what it's called now. The X-wing or U-wing. Yeah, I think it's X-wing or U-wing, where they can give 2 experience to a rebel. That's going to be great if you don't have a rebel on board, so we don't bother with that. So we've gone with, of course, the Millennium Falcon being the best ship that the heroic side of yellow has to offer. A very strong one. Pairs very well with Han because a 3 cost 3 force, pretty good solid stats. Underworld trait to get back with Street Gang Recruiter. When it's got effect for this unit enters play, ready. So you have to. It doesn't come in rested like most cards. It comes in ready, so you can attack straight away. And it does have the drawback of having those solid stats in and play ready, where when you ready this card during the regroup phase, then you either pay 1 or return this unit back to its owner's hand. So you've got to pay 1 resources or return it back to your hand. But the benefit is that with Hand's effect, when you sack off when you have to defeat a resource you control at the start of the action phase, you can use Millennium Falcon to tap the resource you want to defeat, and then when you have to defeat the resource after that, you defeat the resource that's tapped. So that way you don't have a tapped resource that you want to keep. You then just tap 1 with Falcon, and then when you got defeated resources, you defeat the one you've tapped. So that way you still have all your resources active to use. So nice little benefit with the Han Solo leader. They're 3 copies because it's such a good card and can help us finish games as well. And then we've also got 3 copies of the Ever Millennium Falcon for set 2, being the bigger one as well for another kind of ship option. Because you don't really have to worry too much about the space race. It's not much is played in that arena, apart from certain decks might play more. But these 2 will normally cover it, I suppose, for 3 copies of each. You can more likely to see it as soon as possible. And the cheaper Millennium Falcon come in, take out small units like A-Wing and Red 3 and things like that. And then either stay on board or bounce back to hand so you can play it out again, or so you can take out a unit, take the damage, but then bounce back to hand so you can play it back out fresh again. And you've got Millennium Falcon here, which is pretty nice because it doesn't enter play ready, but it does have ambush if played from hand. So it can be smuggled. For a later game, you can smuggle in a space unit if you need to. Now it's a 6 cost 5/5, but its smuggle cost is also 6. But it has a benefit of playing it from hand because if you play this unit from your hand, it gains ambush. So you can either smuggle it in just to play it out, or play it from your hand and gain ambush. That has that benefit of taking out space units. And at a 5/5, it's pretty strong for the cost, really. So that's all the units we play. So not many space units, but more ground units, because that's where we mainly play the when the battles mainly occur, and a few space units just to help handle when it comes to like battling out of space. So now we've got some other cards. Now first we've got the upgrades. We've got 2 jetpack being a very nice card, because it's a nice little card you can smuggle in. So we want, remember, more cards we can smuggle in to make use of Han's building up of resources, and also make sure that even though we got a low hand size from it using his effect, you got things to play still. And jetpack's a very nice one because it's only a cheap 2 cost, or you can smuggle it in for 4. And it can't be put on a vehicle. You don't have to worry about that because the vehicles are in space. You have to worry about putting them on space units. But when played, you give a shield token to the attached unit, and at the start of the regroup phase, you defeat that token. So it gives you. You also get a 2+ power to a unit, so you power up a unit by 2 and give it a shield. So it's like protected for the turn from 1 damage. And this is one that you normally use this when you want to take out a unit, because you make that unit, the unit you want to attack in with stronger, so it can take out something a lot better. And also has a shield, so that way it can attack into a unit and not take damage back, but still do damage to that unit, and you got the shield to protect it. And since the shield's going to be defeated at the end of the turn anyway, you might as well make use of it rather than just swing a base with a shield and not take damage and then lose a shield for no reason. So we've got 2 copies of this because you don't want it to clog too much. You don't want too many cards. You want to actually play. You want to see more units because you need units to put this on. So you don't want too many. So we've got only 2. Might up this to 3. I'm still debating on like switching some cards around because there are some cards I found useful. Some cards I found not as great, but I still have to do a bit more testing because I only have 1 locals go of it. And then a card that's just always good for any cunning deck now is a Hotshot Blaster. So we got 4 free copies of it. It's a very nice one that just kind of finish off games, get that cheeky swing in, and it's a Hotshot Blaster. This normally costs either way in this deck. It's going to either cost 3, so it's going to cost 3 either way because where we're not playing red, you have to play an extra 2 because the aspect doesn't match with acid punting, meaning you got to pay 2 extra on top of its cost. And since you're doing that anyway, you might as well smuggle it in for the same cost because since we've got to pay the acid punting and pay 3, the smuggle cost is 3 and 1 yellow, so we're going to smuggle it in instead. Because if you want to play it normally, you're playing it on the card and then using a never action to attack, so you're getting 2 actions to do what you want to do. Whereas if you go smuggle, you do what you would normally do in 2 actions in 1 action. Because it's got a very nice effect. When played using smuggle, you can attack the attached unit, and it essentially gives 2 power for units, just like jetpack gives 2 power to unit, but you just attack straight away. And this is normally just your focus to kind of take get a swing in straight away to attack, and either take something out or do a lot bigger amount of damage to base. So we got 3 copies of this. This is that great. We want more things in your resource that you can smuggle in to have more options to play out for there. Because you probably got to think about if you have low hand, you haven't got many options, or you've still got options in your resources. And you can do a lot. You can switch very well with this deck by either going for very controlling or very aggressive, depending what you see. So that's the upgrades we're playing. Those 2 upgrades, but there's not many other upgrades that are kind of beneficial in yellow that you kind of want. That kind of mesh well with Han Solo, and plus these at least have smuggle, so if you do resource them, they're still useful either way. And that's one thing you don't want, like events, like units, it doesn't matter too much. But like with upgrades, if they're a resource, they kind of suck. But if you got smuggle, you can still make use of them. And then with our 4 events we've got, we have first Tomb of Clunky. Now this is one that you can kind of loop with Street Fighter Gang, because where he is not underworld, you can kind of do a nice bit trick. Because Street Gang Recruiter can be bounced using McClunky. And then where McClunky has the traits Underworld and Trick, it can be returned by Street Gang Recruiter. So what McClunky does is a 1-cost event that allows you to return a friendly non-leader Underworld unit to your zone of hand. And if you do, deal 3 damage to a unit. So if you say you attack with one of your Underworld units, take some damage, take out something, you can then bounce it back to your hand using this to do 3 more damage to a unit. So either finish off what you're attacking into, or take out something else or damage something else. And get back that unit back to your hand so you can play them out again. So you can kind of either bounce back DJ after you've played it out and sacked off and what's defeated the resource you took from your opponent, bounce it back to hand so you can resource it again, and then smuggle it in again to do it again, keep doing that kind of loop. Or you can Street Gang Recruiter, bring it out, grab back McClunky, attack, survive, take some damage, bounce it back to hand, so that way you do 3 more damage to something, and then you can play out back, reach Street Recruiter and do that loop of play Street Gang, play McClunky, bounce Street Gang back, play it back out, so basically keep recycling those 2 cards. You've always got something to do. So you can attack first with Street Gang Recruiter, and then bounce back from McClunky, play it back out again, get back McClunky, things like that. And then you can grab back things like Tsinkalaki is Fennec Shan Han Solo, so after you swung and ambushed in, get it back again so you can do some damage to something and then ambush in again, which is quite cool. And just extra damage as well. You can even get back your Millennium Falcon as well. So you can, if you got in a later game, you can play out the Falcon, swing for free, McClunky it back to hand, deal 3 damage to something, play it back out, swing again, get some 6 damage, and potentially take something out in the process as well. So pretty nice plays you can get, like some nice combinations. You have to test a bit more to kind of see what comes up and change it to yourself. And we also got Free Sparker Rebellion, another turn 1 play you can make that isn't just a unit, and is great against those control decks because you get lucky opponents and rip out a card from their hand. So very nice there. So you can potentially do it on turn 1 to hit your opponent and potentially take out their only turn 1 play. So they're not doing anything turn 1, you're not really doing something apart from using that, but at least you know what they have, so you can kind of play around what options they've got, and also rip out something you don't want them to have. And this is really nice against control deck as well, because you can just, where they have a very limited hand, because they're normally going one form with your cards, it kind of takes something out of yours. Basically just remove your card one at a time, so using one card to remove one of your cards, you can use this to kind of just rip out a card in hand, so take out their limited options, and it basically just puts a lot of pressure on taking the cards out, especially with this, Bodhi, and also Cunning, which we're going to be playing. You can kind of keep ripping cards at hand while doing stuff you want to do as well. Also got 2 copies of Let the Walk You Win. I absolutely love this card, and I put some good use to it anytime I play it, because it's a very cheap unit, very cheap event, and it gives your opponent 1 of 2 options. They can either give you 6 resources back, so let you untap 6 resources, or they can let you ready a unit. Now this is very, very strong in this, because especially if you're like swinging, pushing damage, and you've got big things like Han Solo out, they've got a hard choice because they're either giving you 6 resources, so you can play out something new from your hand and do more things. Like one nice thing you can do is like play out like a Han Solo, or play out a unit to attack with, and then let the Wookiee win to then either restand that unit you attack with, so say restand a Fennec or your leader to swing again and resource more, or even just restand a unit so you can swing more at a base with like big units as well. Or they untap you 6, so you can then play out more things, like play out a Millennium Falcon, play out a Missouri, play out a Cloud Rider, Bodhi, and stuff like that. Just play out more things to board, or even smuggle more things in. And they've got a very difficult choice, because if you play at the right moment in the game, you can force them to do the option you want to do and get so much benefits out of that. 6 resources allow you to play more things, either like smuggle in more things for your resources, or just play more things out, or you can like smuggle out your event upgrades, so yeah, you can swing harder with the unit as well, which is very, very cool. And especially since if you're getting 6 resources back, you're normally paying 2 for this, which is 2 of the 6, and paid 4 to do other stuff. So you can say like smuggle out a jetpack, then let the Wookiee win, and they're either letting you like after you've attacked with whatever's jetpack on, they either let you untap the 6 you just used, so you've got all the resources back you just paid for, or they restand that card that's got jetpack, which is since it's got 2+ power to it, they can attack again, and that could be a lot of damage as well, which you've got to think about. And the last card we got is Free Cunning, because Cunning's such a great card. It gives you 2 or 4 options in any order, either bounce back something 4 or less power, which you can use on yourself as well. The bounce being things like Bodhi back, DJ back as well, to kind of use again, either resource or play back out. You can give a unit 4+ power, so you can hit even harder. Like I've had it before, where I've given power boost, like a 4+ power boost to Han Solo, then put a jetpack and a hotshot blast on it as well, to get a swing for like 14 damage in one swing. Which is really cool. It's also the 2 units to kind of control, like get things out of the way, like tap things down so they can't interact with you, and just make it so you don't have to worry about them attacking you and controlling your board, and then making your opponent's card from the hand, giving you a bit of hand control with this as well. The nice thing about this combination, the double yellow, is you've got a very good sense of hand control that limit your opponent's options, also controlling their board and giving like some boost to kind of put some good aggression on as well. So that's the main deck. Then we'll go into the side deck and kind of see what we've got there. So for the side deck, we haven't got much. We've got 5 different cards, and these are basically, I didn't think too much. Well, I didn't think too much about it. Like, didn't really like so it was for my locals, my big events. But I think it kind of, the choices did like put in some work. I do translate pretty well to big events as well, because the options I've got 5 different ones, and we've got 2 copies of Leia. So this is to help with tapping down things like leaders, like when leaders deployed, tap those down, or even with a turn 1, if you have this plus Greedo in your opening hand, you can play it out, untap a resource, play a Greedo, so you get multiple units of force, so you can start being aggressive if you want to be more aggressive in a certain matchup. But it's mainly there to kind of like have a way to tap down your opponent's units. So normally tap it down the leader, so if they can deploy the leader at turn, tap it down so you can kind of do what you want to do rather than be disturbed. Because normally the time you can your opponent can deploy a leader, they do it for free without tapping resource or anything. So lock that down to have them have less options to kind of have a freer way to kind of deal with stuff on your board. Is really nice. Or even just untap a resource to get more things on board so you can kind of swarm it is really cool as well. We've all got 2 copies of Bamboozle as well, because Bamboozle is just a great card. Being able to tap down a unit and then return all upgrades on its back to its hand. So if they got upgrades like experience, if they got experience on a unit, or like lots of experience on a unit, or even lots of upgrades on a unit, you can pass that all back. Like you think about it, you got things like you got some units like the U-Wing, or like for both the dark and the light side, the Imperials and Rebels, that, like space units that put 2 experience on a unit, resting that so it can't attack when it's like been powered up, and get rid of those experience off them because it just makes it just goes because it can't get it back to hand, just disappears. Or if your opponent like the Mandalorian legendary, putting 2 experience tokens on a 2 cost, you can rest that 2 cost, no experience on it anymore, just no shields on it. There's shields that go to stun. Or like a Darksaber, like put it when you got like speed deploying. When they go, I'm gonna chuck Darksaber on them turn 3 when they deploy. Bamboozle rest so it can't attack, put that Darksaber back in hand. So just waste that turn so you got more time to kind of take speed out before they can put that Darksaber back on there. And the nice thing about this is, what you might think, yes, it costs 2, but you have much to play after that. It can be played for free from your hand by discarding a Never Cunning card from your hand instead of paying its energy cost. So even though you will have a limited hand size for Han Solo, you still didn't mind this because you're discarding card to tap, so you've got resources to kind of deal with something as well that you're resting. And it's just great for if your opponent like puts all their eggs in one basket, you can just ruin it with this. I might even up this to a 3rd one because it's just that great against that kind of play. Then we've got 2 copies of New Adventure. This is more to go a bit more control, a bit more aggression, because this, in combination with things like Bodhi Rook, or this with like things like Bodhi Rook or the Millennium Falcons, give you a good option to be able to make use of their on plays. Like this with anything that's got on play, like Bodhi, it's really nice just to have it, play it out, bounce it back, so you can grab out 2 cards from your opponent's hand in a single turn, which is quite nice. Or even with Millennium Falcon, be able to like play it out, swing with it, bounce it back, so you can bring it back in again and attack again. Or even with the bigger Millennium Falcon, or even Millennium Falcon, the 3 cost you can just basically attack, or play out, attack, bounce back the hand, play it back out again, attack again for cheap for like 5. Or even like the other Millennium Falcon, you've got mount, you swing with it, then you bounce it back to your hand, back out again, because it's got ambush, you can attack again straight away. You kind of have a nice bit of control there. So that kind of depends on what you've got for it, but where it doesn't work on everything, but it has some nice synergies with there. You can even put some more when played effects. I attempted to put in some Cantina bounce as well to have more options with this to make it more worthwhile. Then I've got 2 copies of Waylay, because some things like you got things like I've learned today, well from my locals, that Crate Dragon is quite a hard one to deal with, and you don't really have anything in the main board to kind of deal with it. So having things like Waylay, that's a cheap way to just go get back to your hand. You've paid 9, pick it out, let's bounce back to your hand, and just carry on doing what I want to do. It's pretty nice. So you've got to reestablish it again if they want to. Or even if they just play out big things that are like problems as well. Like once again, like with Bamboozle, they're powering something up, making it even like bigger, getting it to bounce back to hand is a great way to do. And then you also got 2 Change of Heart, because just like the same with Crate Dragon, sometimes you might want to just you might not like answer to some cards, or your opponent might have something on board you kind of want to use to take them out instead. So you can kind of use this to take one of your opponent's cards so they have less options on their board to deal with things, and then use it to attack, like use it yourself. Like you can take one of your units to attack before they can attack with it, or you use effects of it, and while you don't have kind of ways to really get rid of the card, you may need to use this as a way to kind of finish games. Swing with stuff, like take something of theirs, and swing with it just attack, especially if they play like a Crate Dragon. You try to make sure you take the initiative before the next turn, so that way when they've got the Crate Dragon there, you can change the fire. Now if they want to get rid of your Crate Dragon, they've got a pay card to take Crate Dragon trigger, and then you can attack fixes a big 10-10 as well, so you do a lot of damage to finish them off, which they basically just set you up for. So that's a deck that does need some tweaking. I do want to put like a 3rd Bamboozle, and I'm not sure if New Adventure is the best card for it. So I might change it. a new adventure up for Bamboozle, maybe change up, like take out a new adventure, put the third Bamboozle, and maybe change up. I need to test it a bit more. This seems like one of the options I might take Manchester, and so from the test I loved it, and I love the kind of, I do love double yellow. It's one of my favorite combinations in the game. But that's it. If you have any questions about any of the cards in there, feel free to comment down below. I'll answer as best I can. And if you want to see some gameplay, check it out this week. We'll have a gameplay show from my locals, all 4 games I have. And if you have any suggestions, feel free to comment. That would be nice as well. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Like a boss.